Hi guys, Mr. Waffles here, and welcome back to another Call of Duty Zombies video. I love you, by the way, Mr. Waffles. I'm not trying to be mean or insulting, I just thought that'd be funny for an intro. Anyway, so I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite Zombies maps in COD, and then possibly do the top 5 worst, maybe tomorrow or whatever the next day this video comes out on. Because I'm going to be doing a tier list video again, where I'm going to be ranking every Treyarch Zombies map from World at War all the way up to Cold War. And I'm not going to be counting MW3 zombies or Vanguard zombies, just because, well, I don't even really consider those part of the Treyarch experience. So I'm just going to be focusing on their actual games, not like the side modes that they develop. If your favorite map isn't on this list, then don't sue me. Okay, it's fine. It's okay. We can disagree on the internet, but you're probably still gonna leave a comment. So whatever, just do whatever you want to do, and I'll make fun of you either way. Anyway, so let's get into it. Starting off pretty strong, we have Der Riese / the Giant, and I'm gonna be combining both of them because they're pretty much the same shit. Okay, they're not like. I guess the Giant is different enough as its own entity in BO3, but really, at the end of the day, they're pretty much the exact same map. So, this was the map that started the zombie craze, basically. I mean, Nocturne Toten was obviously the first map, and it got way more popular than they would have imagined. But I feel like Der Riese was when this mode just really took like a revolutionary turn towards like popularity and what would become popular in Kino der Toten and Black Ops. Not only is the layout really great, it's very simple. It's basically just a central area and then 3 branching paths that all lead to open up the Pack-a-Punch, which the Pack-a-Punch in this map is so important. And if we did not have this map, we would not have gotten Pack-a-Punch, which is kind of crazy to think about because this is such a revolutionary map in that way, and it's kind of the reason I just consider it a better map than Kino overall, even though they're different maps, but really, in terms of design, they're very similar. I think Der Riese is still better than Kino, just because of the fact that it actually introduced some new shit, It introduced the monkey bombs, the Pack-a-Punch, and fucking some of the most memories, I think, in any... Like, some of the most nostalgic memories I can think of playing zombies back in the old days, when I was a wee lad, and I remember sitting on the catwalk with an MG42 and a PPSH Pack-a-Punch just mowing down zombies, and those memories, man, like, it's honestly, like, surreal to think back at how long ago that was. It's such a great map, man, and it's honestly, like, way more fun co-op as well. I'm more of a solo player overall in zombies, but co-op on this map is like some of the most fun you'll ever have. This, in my opinion, this is one of the essential co-op zombie maps, and Der Riese, man, it's such a fucking classic, and if you don't like this map, there's something wrong with you a little bit, I think. Moving on to number 4, we have kind of a controversial pick, and I'm not really sure why everyone dogs on this map as much as they do, but we have Call of the Dead from Black Ops 1. This is my favorite BO1 zombies map. Just getting that out there. What do I like about Call of the Dead? There's some things I don't like about this map that I can see why people don't like the map. Like, I know people are annoyed by George, but I feel like he adds this, like... I don't know how to describe it. He just adds something to the map that I feel like if he wasn't in it, it just wouldn't feel the same, Ever since I was a little kid, I had this, like, zombie fixation for some reason, and George Romero... He's arguably, like, the most influential person on zombies in modern media as we know it. So the fact that they made a whole map in tribute after him, and it's a reference to some of his movies, like Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, and Dawn of the Dead, like, I just think that's such a cool map idea. And the layout of the map is really good, too. I do feel like the map's a little big, and I feel like there's some things that are really annoying, like the fact that there's a moving Pack-a-Punch, that there's like 3 locations they can go to when the fog rolls in, which the fog, it also kind of ruins the map. It makes the map go from looking like really pretty to looking like shit. And the jug location is in a really weird spot that always pisses me off when I'm down there. And George himself can be kind of annoying, but I like George in the map because he actually, if you kill him, yeah, he comes back, which is kind of annoying, but he also gives you a free perk, so I think that's kind of cool. And also the Scavenger and the VR11 aren't that great as wonder weapons. The Scavenger is a lot better, but it drops off very, very hard, and you kind of need PhD for it, but I still think it's a cool wonder weapon. VR11 is just a complete waste of a fucking weapon slot, in my opinion. Like, there's no reason you should ever pick that up. It's actual AIDS. But despite all of that, the reason I love this map is just because of the vibe that it has, and the 4 main characters are so fucking funny. You've got a whole celebrity cast of Michael Rooker from Walking Dead and a bunch of other shit. You got Sarah Michelle Gellar from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Robert Englund, who played motherfucking Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, and of course you got Danny Trejo or Machete. Such a badass celebrity cast in this map, and they definitely add a lot. And even though I'm not the biggest like Easter egg kind of zombies player, like I don't go out of my way to do Easter eggs a ton, I really like the one on this map because the four, I think it was the Ultimus crew or the Primus crew. I get the names confused, but the OG 4 basically from World at War. They get travel through time and they get stuck behind this vault door, and you have to actually go on this like little quest to try to get them out. And it's such a funny little Easter egg that I always have fun doing when I do decide to do it. And also this map's got a lot of great training spots too, even though like it's pretty much impossible to get to high rounds on this map because there's not great wonder weapons and not great like traps or anything like that. For some reason, like I just wish the Scavenger was infinite damage. If it was, this map would probably be like number 2 at least, but you know, it is what it is. I love Call of the Dead to death. Number 3, we have something I would not have said even like 5 years ago, and that is Shadows of Evil from Black Ops 3. Now, I used to hate this map. When it first came out, I hated the new direction that Zombies was taking, okay? I was more used to maps like Der Riese or Buried or fucking Shinonuma, Shangri-La, stuff like that, you know, sometimes they could be hard maps, but they were just simple, and I really appreciated the more simple style of Zombies, and I hated this like new complex quest kind of vibe that Zombies was taking on. But I have to say, during the early stages of COVID lockdown, I went back and played Black Ops 3 Zombies, all of the maps, and I ended up falling in love with Shadows of Evil. I played this map again, and it just clicked with me this time, and ever since then, ever since 2020, I have gone on record of saying that Shadows of Evil is objectively probably a top 3 map of all time, and subjectively for me, it's number 3 of all time. I fucking love this map. It basically takes elements from some of my favorite maps, like Mob of the Dead and Origins, and it just kind of combines them all together, but it also creates this, like, it has this super unique Lovecraftian Cthulhu vibe to it, and it takes place in the 30s, so it's got all this, like, jazz music playing and stuff, and the 4 main characters are really good, too, for not being, like, the original crew, and I feel like they all have these unique personalities, and they're played by some pretty awesome actors, like Jeff Goldblum, Heather Graham, Ron Perlman. I forget the actor's name for Jack Vincent, but he plays Compton from Band of Brothers, which if you never saw Band of Brothers, you're missing out. Okay, go watch it. I really love the wonder weapon, the Apothicon Servant, even though it's like the most overpowered shit of all time. It's actually quite fun to get on high rounds on this map because that thing is just so fucking good. You can't pack a punch it anymore, unfortunately. They patched that shit like a long time ago. And I think that's kind of unfortunate, because ammo is kind of an issue with it. But I think it's such a unique wonder weapon. It's basically like a Gersh device shooter, but way more overpowered. And really, overall, I gotta say that this map is not as complicated as people make it out to be. Like, you can just get to Pack-a-Punch by doing the 4 rituals, and then, you know, get your KRM and KN44 or your bootlegger, whatever you want to pack a punch, and just try to get to a high round that way. The only thing that kind of makes high rounds a little difficult are the Margwas, which, by the way, the Margwas are a really cool boss to me because they're not like super difficult unless you don't know what you're doing. If you just keep your distance from them and you shoot out each of their eyes individually, like they're not that hard at all. But my dumbass always ends up dying to them on the fucking upgrading the Apothicon sword because I'm terrible at it. You also got the upgrade version of the Monkey Bombs, which is the little Arnie's. In my opinion, they're way better than the Monkey Bombs because they'll actually kill like a lot of zombies pretty easily. And it's maps like Shadows of Evil and Mob of the Dead that I enjoy this sense of perfection, you know. On the early rounds, I can usually get to Pack-a-Punch by round 3 or 4 on Shadows of Evil because I know what I'm doing now. And using the Beast Mode, getting those runs like in the beginning perfected, it kind of adds this like replayability to the map. This is already like, for me, it's only number 3 on the list, but this is a 10 out of 10 map in my opinion, even despite some like minor gripes with it. And I can't believe I used to hate this map. I really wish I appreciated it when it came out. Number 2 is another Black Ops 3 map, and it's another map I wish I appreciated when it came out, but we have Der Eisenbach. I know it's kind of considered, like, by a lot of people in the community to be the best map ever, or at least the best Black Ops 3 map. I'm not entirely sure what the community thinks about it. I just know it's a very wide-loved map, and I don't want to sound like I'm bandwagon dick riding this map or anything. I just, for what I enjoy in zombies, which is not making it feel like I have to go out of my way to do a bunch of extra shit just to survive. And that's exactly what Der Eisendrache is to me. You don't have to go out of your way to get the shield and the bow and upgrade the bows and all that kind of shit. No, you can just go to the rocket pad and then pack a punch. And it's not really that hard. It's a map that like welcomes the casuals and the hardcore players at the same time, and that to me is what makes a great zombie map. Just don't make it feel like it's required to do a bunch of extra shit, but if you do go out of your way to do the extra shit, you're still rewarded handsomely for it. And I feel like Der Eisendrache does that in a really great way. It basically, it takes the Origins staffs, you know, the lightning, fire, wind, and ice/storm, and it kind of just puts them into bow form, and in my opinion, the bows are way cooler than the staves. I think the staffs are better overall, but the bows to me are just cooler, and they feel a lot better to use, you know? Like, you just feel like such a fucking badass using it. And again, this map takes some of the best elements from Origins and Mob of the Dead. The 3 dragon heads around the map are kind of like the 3 dogs on Mob, and that's what you get to get the Wrath of the Ancients, which is the base bow that doesn't have an upgrade, but you can go out of your way to get the Storm bow, the Void bow, the Fire bow, which sucks, or you can do the wolf bow, like I always do, and just tear ass, you know? It's so much fun. The Panzer comes back from Origins, and he's a lot tougher, in my opinion. I don't know if they, like, buffed him or something, but this dude kicks my ass on the high rounds. I don't understand how to kill him past, like, round 30. But, man, it is such a... And it's got such a great atmosphere to it. Like, it's set in this Austrian castle. You can look through the castle and find all these little side stories, like the one about the Wolf King, when you're upgrading the wolf bow and stuff. And to me, it just proves that, like, Treyarch is the best COD developer when it comes to environmental storytelling, but also just storytelling in general, because they don't even really explain the Wolf King story that much, but it's something that you have to piece together yourself. And when you do, it's like, it somehow resonates with you, even though you never even were there to experience it, per se. I don't know if that even makes sense, but what I'm trying to get across is that this map is fucking awesome, and I wish that I played this map during the early launch of BO3 Zombies, because I feel like even back then, if I had just learned the map a little bit, I actually would have enjoyed this map, despite the new direction Zombies was taking. Because, again, this map isn't even really that complicated. It's basically just Origins, but more simplified, and that's what I like about it. I love Origins, but that map can be, like, really tedious to play sometimes. You know, upgrading the staffs can be kind of a pain in the ass. You have to turn the dials, and you have to go around the map, and then after that you have to go to the crazy place and collect all the souls and stuff. Like, it's just kind of a whole process that I find kind of tedious. Not necessarily bad. I just would prefer for it to be a little less annoying, in a sense. But Der Eisendrache just kind of cuts all that out, and it just gets you right into the shit, and upgrading the bows aren't really that complicated. I'm pretty sure you could figure it out on your own if I think it's possible to. And also a big thing about this map is that you can do the Easter egg solo. Now, I've only tried it a couple times, and I got my ass kicked at the boss fight, like, immediately, and I never tried it again. But I'm gonna someday hopefully I'm gonna be streaming some zombies at some point. And I really want to try to do the Easter egg solo at some point, because it's actually not too bad of an Easter egg. Like, it's not that annoying to do. It's just a matter of learning some steps and knowing where you're going and what to do when you get there, and, you know, stuff like that. So it's not a horrible Easter egg to learn solo, I've found. Okay, moving on to my favorite zombies map of all time. I even just talking about it right now, I just want to go play it right now, and it's Mob of the Dead. I know a lot of people say BO3 is the peak of zombies, but to me, Mob of the Dead represents such a turning point in zombies. It basically saved BO2, because the first 2 maps were Transit and Die Rise, which are fucking terrible, in my opinion. And it was DLC 2, I believe. And again, it just saved the game. If it didn't come out, I feel like zombies wouldn't have been saved otherwise, because this is such a fucking unique map. It's not even funny. The coolest setting for a zombies map of all time, in my opinion. You're on Alcatraz Island, set in like the late 20s, and you're playing as 4 gangsters, all played by real celebrities, like Chaz, I forget his last name, Ray Liotta, who's in my favorite movie of all time, Michael Madsen from Kill Bill and Reservoir Dogs. Like, it's such a cool cast of characters, and my favorite one is Weasel, who's played by Ralph. I'm sorry, I don't know their last names. He played fucking Ralph on The Sopranos. Okay, that's all you need to know. And he's a great actor, and my favorite character is Weasel because he has. If you look into some of his quotes, you'll find that he has like the deepest character arc, in my opinion, and he feels the most human out of the other 3. He's the only one that's aware of the cycle, and he's tried to break it, but he can't. And really, like, the whole storyline of Mob of the Dead to me is the best story out of any zombies map. Like, the whole purgatory thing and trying to break the cycle, and the Easter egg's really cool because there's 2 endings where the Weasel kills them or he gets killed by them and the cycle continues. It's such a unique story. And the map flow itself is really good too. I used to think it was too big, but now I realize that the map actually has a purpose for every area, you know. The whole idea of the map is getting all of the plane parts around the map so you can build it at the top of the roof, and then you fly to the Golden Gate Bridge so you can pack a punch, but that's also when all 4 of the characters die, and then when they go into afterlife mode after getting put in the electric chair, that's when the cycle continues over and over again. This map just has so much cool shit in it. The Hell's Retriever, which you get by going around and feeding the 3 dogs around the map. And you can upgrade it into the Hell's Redeemer, which is even better, and it's equally badass, okay? You've got the fucking, the Blundergat, which is one of my favorite wonder weapons of all time, probably my favorite, honestly. You turn it into the Acid Gat, which you can then upgrade into the Vitrolic Withering, or you can upgrade the Sweeper and then put that in the Acid. Excuse me. You can put that in the Acid Gat. It's such a fucking awesome wonder weapon because not only is it really powerful, but it's basically a monkey bomb shooter because it attracts the zombies to wherever you shoot, and then it'll just blow up. And if you have the Shield, Jug, Electric Cherry, Speed Cola, and Double Tap, you're basically invincible if you get stuck in a corner. You literally just shoot it at a wall, they all come over, it blows them up, and then you can just run free. Like, it's busted, honestly. It's kind of busted, but going for high rounds on this map is a lot of fun, even though the wonder weapon does kind of drop off later, but I doubt you're going to get to round 100 on this map. Like, let's be real. This map it's not the hardest map, but I feel like it's a very accessible map in terms of the fact that it's more complex than a Der Riese, for example, or even Buried, but I feel like it's accessible enough because it doesn't feel daunting. Like, you know how to get to each of the Pack-a-Punch parts, or plane parts, to get to Pack-a-Punch. You could figure it out on your own. And that's what I enjoy about this map, is that it doesn't feel suffocating like Zetsubou when you're setting up. The setup process on Mob is actually enjoyable to me, even though it does take a bit of time. It's actually pretty fun to do. And the more you do it, the more you get better at doing it quicker. And oh man, I just love the way this map plays. And another underrated aspect about this map is just like the atmosphere of it. I feel like this map hits the atmosphere on the head so much more than any zombies map ever made. Even the World at War maps, which are terrifying to play late at night. I remember the first night that I played Mob of the Dead. I played it pretty late after it came out. I think it was like a year or 2 after it came out, and me and Caleb were playing it. And I just remember we were playing it at like midnight, and we got to the showers area in the lower level of the map. And I just remember like hearing that music and seeing all this blood everywhere and all these hanging bodies, and I was legitimately creeped out. Like, I had to keep looking behind my shoulder because like the sound design is so amazing in this map that you actually feel like you're there. That sounds kind of corny, but they did such a great job with the sound design on this map. The music is incredible. Like, the round changing music is so fucking good. It's so good, in fact, that they copied it in BO3 for like every map, just a new rendition of it, basically. You also got Brutus spawning in, who's a pretty fun boss to fight because he doesn't make it super hard. he just adds something to this map. I just feel like it wouldn't be the same without him in it, kind of like George, but I don't know. I'd say he's way better than George, honestly, because you can actually kill him, and he comes back every few rounds. But the only annoying part about Brutus is that he'll lock some shit up that you have to unlock it by paying 2,000 fucking points just to get it back. But other than that, he's a great boss too, and he adds to the map. I wouldn't take him out personally. And it makes me so upset that Blood of the Dead messed all this up. I'll talk about that when I do my top 5 least favorite maps of all time, my top 5 most hated maps, if you will. But man, Blood of the Dead just pales in comparison to Mob of the Dead. And in my opinion, Mob of the Dead objectively, it's probably a top 5 map anyway. Subjectively, this is by far my favorite zombies map of all time. I love when it takes place like in a real location, and this is just such a fucking unique map, man. It makes me so happy that it came out, because BO2 Zombies would have suffered if Mob of the Dead and Origins hadn't come out. And even Buried, I would argue, kind of saved BO2 in a way, because it was the only good Victus crew map. I really hope to make some videos on zombies at some point, because I feel like at least once a year, I get into this phase of just going back and playing BO3 a shit ton, and then playing all the other zombies games a lot. And Mob of the Dead is a map that I frequent quite a bit, and I've gone back to it more times than I can count. Probably even more than Der Riese or Shadows of Evil. I love Mob of the Dead with a passion. I will always love this map. I've loved it since I first played it, which was like about 10 years ago now, which is crazy to think about. And yeah, so that's my top 5 favorite zombies maps of all time. And if you want to see my most hated maps, let me know. But either way, I'm going to be doing a tier list video on every Treyarch map so far. Not counting Vanguard, because it's dog shit. There's no point talking about it. I'm also not counting MW23, because that's not even their own game. Sure, they developed the mode, but it's just not even zombies to me. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.